Hello, everybody, and I'm Haumea Roisin Dione, and you are all so welcome here. We are in for a real treat today. We are going to be talking to Dr. Neesa Ginger Mills. I want to get to know why your middle name is Ginger. That's a question that I have for you. Weaving her expertise as a ceremonial guide, visual artist, and healing facilitator of 30 years, Dr. Neesa is on a mission to inspire divine remembrance during these critical evolutionary times and shine light on the new earth resonance. She guides awakening souls to release unhealthy patterns and integrate higher octaves of consciousness through advanced body and energy alignment, priestess initiation, art medicine, and her line of soul activating geometry portals. I'm so excited. And even as I'm reading this, she also teaches her branded painting process called Art as Soul Medicine. Just phenomenal. Neesa's most recent temple offerings are informed by her channeled sacred geometry mandalas. We can see some there behind her, each of which carry unique light codes integral to the global feminine awakening. These geometric shapes form a foundation for her work with individuals and groups through guided visionary journeys and body healing. She co-creates with her clients and students, both remotely and in person, from her home in mystical Mount Shasta in California. And that's on my bucket list. I'm definitely wanting to go there without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
You're so welcome. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Small correction. Yes, Neesa.
Neesa. I apologize. I should have checked with you before we started this, but there we go. It's live. It's live. So I just absolutely devoured your chapter in the return to the mother world, and it's just lit my heart up. I could feel the sacred geometry really activating within me. So would you please share with us the successful life you had before your remembering, and what I want to say, the total courageousness of your truth and your faith, because you literally sacrificed everything that you knew, and yet you've gained absolutely everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to take a sidestep here and say that it wasn't all by choice. You know, I did give things up, but I really had to. You know, I had set down a prayer many years ago that I am in alignment and working under the directive of Divine Mother. That's my pledge. So in order to do that, there's a lot of unraveling that has to happen. Perhaps, you know, some people may already be 100% lined up, but I found that there were some things that need to change. And a lot of that was about the internal world, right? Really unraveling some of the social conditioning and the family patterns and all the things that got me to where I was at that time. So the first thing that happened, I was a chiropractic doctor and raising two kids. I was a single mom at that point, living in a beautiful home on the Pacific Ocean. And, you know, it was just a good gig. You know, I was teaching energy and energy techniques and running ceremonies for some years. And one day I was in my office. I was actually teaching a group in that moment. I had some students in the office, beautiful office. Like I loved the whole thing. It was going, I thought, really well. And
Just when you felt you were in your comfort zone.
exactly. Well, as I was there that day in the space with this group, I heard this voice just loud as you're talking to me right now. And it said, you're going to need to give all of this up. And I just inherently knew what that meant. I knew what that meant, even though the words were very short. And that, by the way, seems to be how spirit talks to me in short phrases. And I have to know words. Anyway, so when I received that message, I knew what it meant, but I didn't like it. You know, I did not want to acquiesce to that guidance. And so I really fought it. I fought it for several months. And then as I'm in my fight, I'm getting depressed, and my life literally started to collapse on its own.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's really what happened. And so there I was finally, like I had to give up my practice, my office. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to work at home for a while. And then I had been a renter in this really nice home for 10 years. And then all of a sudden, as I was literally packing the office, I get a call from the owner of my home who said, you need to move. You need to get out of here. And I was like, okay. Yeah, so here we go. So that's really what happened that led me down this rose-colored path, rose petal path, as I like to call it.
Wow, yeah, but I know as well that you did have to give up you gave up your family as well to head off to Hawaii on your own, didn't you?
No, I'm going to give them up, but you know, I had to leave. My younger daughter was still in high school, and she just went and lived with her dad. And yeah, it was definitely intense, you know, taking that step, because I was a very hands-on mom. And so for me to say, like, okay, you're going to finish high school and I'm going to be in Hawaii across the ocean. I know a lot of people say, well, it's not that far, but to me, it felt really, really far, because I couldn't get in a car. Yeah. You know, there was a lot of factors, you know, involved in making a trip like that. So
massive, huge, and it makes no difference anyway. It doesn't. It's a different country, everything, you know. And that was courage. That was courageous. And I know you had the support of your beautiful daughter, because otherwise you wouldn't have done it. And I'm sure the relationship between both of you has stood the test of time, and especially at that time, because you share beautifully in the book how you both were with each other on the last night before you flew out. So it's beautiful, and a few words, just like Spirit says to you, but it spoke volumes, is what I want to say to you, and so beautifully shared. So the consciousness codes in the portal sequence. Okay, so we have the cosmic water, the womb garden, the star mother, the diamond heart, the new earth generator. Would you like to elaborate on the codes and how they assist your clients and how they continue to play out in your life and shifting and changing you and allowing you to be in the flow?
Yeah, well, that's a big question. I could talk about that for a very long time, so I will do my best to be concise. So in the book, I speak about how the first one came to me, Cosmic Waters, and that to me is imprinted with codes that have very much to do with like the call back to the original mother. And infused with all of that is this element of water, you know, that we are water, and water relates to emotion. And this is a subject that I'm deeply studying right now. I just keep looking at this whole concept of water and what is it and who is it and where did it come from and how does it impact us? And so anyway, right on this altar right behind me, you can't see it super well, but I do have a cloth of that one sitting right here.
Yeah.
And so I felt that after that geometry came through me is when things started to really shift in my life, right? And I had to get taken down into this deep emotional territory in order to transform. And I honestly feel that being true to our emotions is a critical part of the return to the mother world, what we're going back to. It has not been something that's been encouraged, shall we say, right?
Absolutely.
By culture. You know, I don't know about your country, but I know here, you know, little kids like don't cry, you know, especially boys. Don't let yourself express. So that is an important part of this evolving back to our primordial nature and allowing us to then evolve to the higher places, to the new earth, you know, which is that one on the wall right there called the new earth generator. So I'm trying to go back to encompassing your question. So what I noticed is each one of these revealed themselves through a creative process. I would begin to learn more about them after the fact. And literally I'm still learning about these as I take people into meditative practices with them. And so that's how I came to understand that they were actually encoded with information and realms of consciousness that help to open us up to become more in alignment with our divine design, who we really are and where we're going.
And do you see it in your clients? You see a shift and a change in them over a period of time. And then, of course, them reflecting back to you how you've changed.
For sure. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to explain how I've used them, but it all started in groups, you know, just doing meditative practices with people and having them literally look at the image in a meditative zone, so kind of a soft eye experience. And then I would guide them into this activation process so that these codes would enliven inside of them. And then in individual sessions, I do kind of the same thing, but we get a little more specific with the issues that each person might be up against. The one there that's pink behind me, that's called the womb garden. So that one deals really specifically with the return to innocence. And you can see the colors are very soft and have that childlike kind of joyful coloration. So that one's been very important, you know, for me and for others. And I'll just mention too that recently I started printing these on scarves. You can see this one.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
And I've had this amazing discovery. And that is when I put them on a person, I encourage people to first get into a meditative kind of stillness so they feel grounded and connected. And then I say, okay, just see what you feel when you put this on. And it's been remarkable. Then people tell me all kinds of crazy things. You know, they go on these rapid journeys. They come out a minute or two later and tell me all kinds of wild stories about where they went in their consciousness. And I am in awe, honestly, frankly, because, you know, there's something that came through me to make these. Like it was not, you know, my mind. I had to employ some skill to do it, but ultimately there was spiritual transmissions that I was receiving.
Oh, completely. I mean, that's what makes them so special. And the fact that you're able to bring spirit through through your artwork, through your mandalas, and through your sacred geometry. I mean, it's such a beautiful physical skill. That's what I want to say to you. It's very much the magic is actually being able to see it with the physical eye, as well as allowing yourself to feel the magic within you.
Yeah, I know. I feel super blessed. And this is part of the reason that I really like to encourage people to get dialed in. Like, what is it that you have that's special and unique that wants to come through you as your part in making the shift on the globe, so that we can arrive at a new earth consciousness, the ones that everybody dreams of. But I believe it's really happening. It's in motion. And while there's all this darkness and incredible, heavy, sad, depressing energies that we're up against, I'm kind of seeing them working in parallel, right? There's the dark, and the light is just so bright. It is so incredibly bright. And we have a choice, which one are we going to focus on? It's not about ignoring one, but it's about how we interface with those dark spaces.
We play with them. How do we play with them? Yeah, bring the light in, bring the love in, bring the fun in, not taking ourselves too seriously. And that's easy to say when we're not in a war-torn country. But war is just so hideous. And I know you totally agree with me on that. But then that's what our collective consciousness is shifting and beginning to realize it more and more. And yes, staying true to your beautiful artwork, through the magic of the sacred geometry, knowing every time, even in this conversation, I'm tingling. I can just feel this rippling out, just going out through the window, on out, up into the skies, to pour back down and to go wherever that magic is needed. And that's why it's so beautiful to be able to talk to somebody like yourself that's very much in this physical world, because I'm inclined to think that for many of us, hands up, I was like this until recently, I always felt like as if I needed to go up. I needed to go up in order to connect. No, because this is what the great mother world is about, isn't it? We come down and we get held in the womb of creation. And that, of course, is Gaia, Mother Earth. It's Mother Nature, everything feminine down here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a both. It's a both and I live in a place, I don't know if your listeners are familiar with Mount Shasta, California, but it is a known spiritual center, and the mountain herself is extremely activating and powerful. But I do know a lot of people that come here or that live here are that are often in these upper realms, and I love it up there. I spend a lot of time there myself, but I do feel like our ultimate mission is to pull down the divinity in through our physical bodies and really integrate it into the womb and the lower centers of the body, so that we can really be whole.
Come back to our true nature, isn't it? Come back to our true nature. Who are we? Answering that question, who am I? Yeah. And then for you to have this sacred geometry that's able to work on our true nature, and being able then to allow the wisdom to be absorbed when the person is ready. And I just feel that that's this pure magic in that. Yeah,
it's pretty special.
It's a new system, absolutely. It's a new system for the new world, and it's going to be so healing, and the power of its energy, and because it's so physical, I feel a lot of people are going to be able to connect with it. If we're talking about healing, if we're talking about, connecting, it's very esoteric, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And
yeah.
we just have to do it in order to really understand what that means.
But then having a beautiful tool like the sacred geometry, and that's another thing that I want to say, you know, geometry, as you say in the book, is one powerful tool. So how does the sacred geometry link into the consciousness codes?
The geometry carries the codes. It is the codes. And
Wow.
I think it's something we can't really wrap our minds around exactly, you know, in our linear way of thinking. It's just something that, I mean, we know a bit about sacred geometry that has been spoken of for many years, many generations, and that we can see certain shapes and forms that are integral to life. But what comes through me is something different. You know, these are not necessarily the basis of traditional sacred geometry. But it's my understanding from my guides that in order for us to get connected with, I mean, honestly, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I feel like these are really coming from galactic sources through me. And I feel like we're expanding into more than a global family, you know, as earthlings. And it's in order to become whole, you know, in all of the universes, that we need to make these connections. And I feel that they're talking to us that in different ways. And this is one of the ways, through geometry.
Oh, totally. I mean, there's no such thing as empty space. And then to have your geometry there in that space and on Mount Shasta, I mean, you're a powerhouse. That's all I want to say to you. You're an absolute powerhouse, because your experiences, your faith, your trust in your intuition, and taking the path that you've taken and continue to take. Do you know, you're a trailblazer, sweetheart. That's all I want to say to you. And sharing this now, sharing it, it's at this stage now that you're getting to share it even more and more. I really feel this is truly opening up a whole new dimension to you.
Yeah, wow, thank you. I appreciate that reflection, because, you know, I've worked at this for a number of years now as these pieces come through me, and I'm like, okay, I'm here by myself doing this thing, and, you know, nobody gets it except me. And I wasn't even sure I got it, frankly, for a long time. But there was something inside that said, keep going, keep going. You know, I need to support myself too, right? So I have different ways that I work in the world, and, you know, through my healing work and selling things, and, you know, all these soulfulpreneur kind of endeavors that I do. But there have been times where I'm like, wow, this geometry thing, like trying to get this out in the world, it's too much. Like, I need to take another turn and put my attention somewhere that feels more practical.
Yeah.
But it was always like, no, you gotta keep going. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's that dogged, then there must be something to it. So I can remember even times with my one daughter, who you were mentioning here in the interview, where I was like, oh, Sasha, I gotta go do something else. And she's like, no, Mom.
I love your daughter. I love your
This
daughter.
is your special sauce, Mom. You need to keep going. I'm like, okay. So yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, we often talk about courage. And when we think of courage, you know, we can often think of, you know, fighting somebody else. You need the courage to be able to stand up and have your boundaries and everything. But this is true courage, really listening and innately knowing, and still saying, I want to be over here. I really feel that I need to be over here. And then just allowing, having the courage to just literally come back and just be who your true nature is. I feel very much is the path that we are wanting to be on. And the courageousness of staying on that path, as you said, you pledged it to the Great Mother.
Yeah. And it is my belief you know, having walked through the years I've walked through with all of this, is that that is what is necessary for this new earth to emerge, for us to reground with Divine Mother, with our own source, and listen. You know, we have to listen so that when we each get to then birth what we're actually here to do in the world. And can you imagine a world like that, where everybody is expressing their innate beauty and creativity? I just know it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. And we've got AI, we've got robots that's going to be doing our cooking and our cleaning for us, so that we can keep staying creating, being the creators, and coming and connected and coming to that space of, yeah, okay, you have something else coming through me? Yeah, come on, bring it on. And being able to get it out then, and then to be able to share it with the world. I mean, yeah, it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So have you had a sacred geometry or a mandala come through with regards to the new way of being that we are going to be as human beings? Is that making sense? Are you understanding the question? The emotions, I mean, because for me, the Great Mother holds the vibration of compassion, of truth, of nurturing, rather than the complete opposite of what's going on in the world right now. And I know I'm trying to say that's the masculine, but it's not all masculine either. Like everything else here, we're in relationship with everything. So we certainly want to take our responsibility. So I'm just wondering if something has ever come through you to emphasize an emotion that is coming and being opening up. And I am convinced our new generation is coming here to bring a deeper compassion, a potent essence of compassion that we've never felt here before. I don't want to say love. We love in so many different ways, but I often what comes through me is feeling this new compassion. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, well, it's certainly an important part of loving others and being able to create a world where there's acceptance and allowance and embracing. Really, I see it as embracing others where they are, and it's challenging, right? It's challenging. But to answer your question about the mandala, well, I guess it's all an evolutionary process. You know, it's sort of broken down for me. Like this one here is the star mother, you know, and that brings these sweet divine feminine energies so that we can start to radiate them out. And then the new earth generator, you know, is also infused with codes that when we get aligned with them and activate them inside of ourselves, that we are going to be supporting this new earth emergence, right? So we are in alignment with Gaia during her ascension or transformational process. So that creates a sense of community, right? So we're all in this together, and we are here to vibrate at these higher frequencies and also be incredibly grounded and in love with the earth.
Yeah, earth it, you know, like the electricity, you know, if we weren't connected to Mother Earth, if we weren't earthed ourselves, that's when we feel scattered. That's when our energy is all over the place. So you brought up a great point here. I really feel, you know, the process before in the old paradigm for being an empath, a light worker, you had to protect yourself, you had to clean your space, and you had to ground yourself. And I'm feeling now, because our light is so bright, we don't need the protection anymore. The shadow just falls away from us. But what we do need more and more is a good grounding technique, and be doing it often throughout the day. Does that resonate with you?
I find that I need that more when I go other places. When I'm here in Mount Shasta, it feels a little easier because the nature is so strong, and
So you're naturally grounding. Yeah, you're naturally
yeah,
grounding.
more and
Certainly.
more. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I spend a lot of time outside as much as I possibly can, with busy life happening. But spending time in the summer, I'm in the water a lot, in the rivers and the lakes, and hiking, and just getting my feet on the ground as much as I can.
Yeah, I'm with you with
But
that,
yeah,
sister.
grounding is huge, and there are different ways to do that for sure.
Yeah,
But
one of the worst inventions that ever was given to us was shoes, cutting us off from Mother Earth.
exactly.
It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah. True. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Take off your shoes, touch Mother Earth with your feet. That's the best way to ground. And if it is cold outside, bring a bucket inside, put your hands into it, get your feet, a bucket of clay, a bucket of Mother Earth, put your hands into it, put your feet on it. It's just so beautiful. And of course, if you have a pet, the pets ground you because they don't have shoes. They're very clever. They don't have shoes. We need to link in with our beautiful pets, and they ground us as well. So there's so many beautiful ways to ground. And I just feel definitely, I'm sensing you might even be bringing in the mandala for grounding.
Well, we'll see what's next. I am at a place right now where I have one that's kind of in the making, and I'm not really going to talk about that right now, but
No.
it's not that. So perhaps there will be another. We'll see, They just show up when it's time. I really don't get to plan it. There have been a couple of times when I've tried to make them. Doesn't work.
No.
It hasn't worked at all.
Divine timing, in the flow. Yes, we learned that lesson well, don't we?
Yeah. I know, it's funny.
I could talk to you all day, my love. I could talk to you all day, and I just feel just everything about you is just authentic, a light, a way shower, just everything all wrapped up into this beautiful human being as well as a spiritual being. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out to be with me today, for sharing everything, and all of you as well. I'm just wondering, would you let the people know how they may contact you?
Yes, I have a website, and it's called Creative Feminine Rising. CreativeFeminineRising.com. So I am definitely contactable there, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. I try not to be on there very much because it's distracting for me, but I can be located that way for sure. And we need to just mention here that the soft copy of this book is now available to people. Yeah.
From today, Monday, yes, the 16th. So just so exciting. And yes, the Return to the Mother World. What's the other part of it? I should know it by now.
Yeah, you know what? I always forget that too, because it's
Good.
a lot of words, but it has to do with
The wisdom
during challenging times. Yeah,
that's right. Receiving the wisdom during challenging times. Yes. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Telling you, we've a lot in common, my love. And yeah, just enjoyed every single moment. And again, just deep gratitude to you, my love.
Oh, thank you so much. I totally appreciate spending time with you too. That we have to just keep the connections going. That's how we're going to keep evolving. And this is part of feminine medicine, is community, connecting and supporting and uplifting and seeing the light in one another, and saying shine, shine, do your thing.
Love that. What a way to end. Thank you so much, Neesa, and thank you everybody for joining us and taking time out of your busy day to listen. And I'm sure Neesa and myself, we wish you a ease and flow, and hopefully during this discussion that you were able to feel the beautiful energies of change and welcome them into your world. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.